I've got a question for all you new first year business owners out there, and it may sting a little. Have you generated any revenue yet? If that's a no, then stick around because I'm going to be covering 6 mistakes new business owners make when they're just starting out. Avoid them, and you'll have a chance of generating some revenue and having a real, actual business. Before we go ahead and dive in for the very best advice in creating both that business and that lifestyle filled with freedom and flexibility, be sure to go ahead and tap that bell and hit subscribe so you get notified the next time a new video airs. So I'm a 4th generation entrepreneur. And before I started my entrepreneur coaching practice, I was the 3rd generation to run my family's regional electronics distribution business. This is crazy ironic because I have a very expensive piece of paper that says I can draw well. An art degree. So over the years, I learned how to make money as well as how to lose money by all the business knowledge passed down generation to generation through my family. My father learned from his father learned from his father learned from his father. You get the gist. With that said, over the years, I was always that friend that my friends would reach out to when they needed help troubleshooting their side hustle. They couldn't figure out why they couldn't get clients, or they couldn't figure out how to price things correctly. And time again, I noticed that people are making the same mistakes. What I'm sharing today is actually going to challenge a lot of what I'm sure you have heard from other business coaches here on the internet. I have a very different approach, which is due in large part to me not having a business degree, but instead learning all I know about business through the School of Hard Knocks. So let's go ahead and dive in. Mistake number 1 is fixating on details like logos or websites or getting your LLC. Now, a lot of business coaches will disagree with me on this, but I firmly stand in this. It is a mistake to invest in all that stuff because the truth is, if you haven't generated any revenue yet, you don't have a business. So until you can actually validate that your business idea is going to work, which happens through one paying customer or client, right? That's all it takes, just one to validate your idea. Then wasting money on getting an LLC or designing a website, it makes absolutely no sense. Plus, what's ultimately going to end up happening is you're going to spend all this money on an asset. You're going to go through, you're going to test something. It's not going to work out right. It's going to take you a little bit to finally figure it out. And then you're going to have to go back and spend money to overhaul everything you just made to accommodate your new offer and client that you landed on that did actually work. So I structure my trainings the opposite way. So we kind of go from what I call a hobby approach. Right. So depending on where you're located and your local laws and jurisdictions, majority of brand new business owners can get by considering their business a hobby, right? That for tax laws and everything else, I think here in the US, if I remember right, it's like under $600 a year, it's still considered a hobby. And so until you get that first paid client, it doesn't matter whether or not you have your LLC or not. I definitely recommend, instead of spending the time fixating on those little details, which really you should be doing at the end of the validation process, that instead you focus your time and attention on actual revenue generating actions. Another mistake is by focusing on creating content, in particular, social media content. So this kind of comes back to what I was talking about before, in that until you know specifically who it is you're serving and what your offer is and how you're pricing it, that you don't know who to create content for. So if you're spending a lot of time, money, and effort on creating content that isn't targeted to the specific person that you're looking for, you're already working at a disadvantage. Plus, on top of it, on the social media platforms, you are competing with other people who are already in the space that you want to be in, that have large audiences, and the algorithms are already pushing potential clients to them, right? So you're at a disadvantage in the algorithm, starting off with the content play instead. I have a very, very different way of teaching people how to generate new business through social media. And it's actually through networking instead of through creating content. because this allows you to have direct conversations with people. Remember, social media is social, right? So you're much better off having a conversation in the DMs or, talking to somebody and asking to meet up for a coffee and get to know them a bit better than you do spending hours and hours and hours creating content that maybe, if you're lucky, 3 people will see. Third mistake I see on a regular basis is avoiding talking to people. So a lot of times what I find too is when you have a new business owner that's so focused on the content, they're like, oh, well, the content is going to fill my, sales call calendar and I'm going to get so many leads through my content. But what they're actually doing is they're using that as a distraction, because once they get somebody on the phone to sell them, they still don't know what to say or how to convert them into a sale, right? So the more efficient way to go about this as a new business owner is to learn how to talk to people about what it is that you offer first before you're creating content. But if you're avoiding talking to people about what it is you offer, whether you don't want your family to know what it is that you're doing, or you don't want your employer to know, if you're avoiding putting yourself out there and having actual conversations with people about who you are, what you do, who you serve, and how you can help, then your business is never going to get out there. It's kind of the best way I like to describe it is it's like saying your car's for sale and putting a for sale sign in the window of your car, but then parking it in the garage. It doesn't work. So I want to know, how are these landing for you so far? If you're surprised, definitely like this video. Drop me a surprised emoji in the comments. I would love to hear what you think. The next mistake is quitting your day job before you're ready. I see this happen time and time again. People are like, you know what? Screw this job. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to quit and I'm just going to start my own thing. And then they become absolutely desperate, trying to sell each and every person that they come into contact with whatever it is they're offering, even if they're not the right fit, right? So what ends up happening, if you're coming from not having any job or any kind of income to sustain yourself while you are starting up your business, every conversation you have with people comes from a place of lack, because you don't feel secure in what it is you're doing. You're not going to be able to pay the bills unless you make a sale in your business, right? And nobody likes to work with, a needy Nelly. A much better and more efficient way to go about starting your new business is, number one, keeping the day job longer than you have to. Another option would be getting something that we call a bridge job. So a bridge job would be kind of like a temporary job that you could do part-time. Maybe it's a gig economy job, like, become a door dasher or drive for Uber to make ends meet while you're launching your business. That isn't full-time, that you could pick up as you need. Or better yet, make sure you have significant savings before you get started. So for me personally, I used my 6-month emergency savings to help make sure that my family was secure while I was starting up my business. I didn't just quit cold turkey with no income or nothing to pay my bills whatsoever before I started. But a lot of people do. So that's definitely a mistake you want to avoid. Another mistake I see people make time and time again is they are impatient AF. They're totally impatient. They don't give the strategies that they're implementing in their new business enough time to actually generate results. So one of my favorite examples for this is in terms of marketing. So I come from a traditional marketing background. I learned digital media strategies way back when they were first coming out, like 2008. I think when it comes to social media, because it was free and it was easier to access compared to the traditional media that my background's actually in, which would be like print or radio. What people don't realize, especially with print advertising is a great example, that it takes people 3 to 4 impressions seeing your ad before they even pick up the phone and call you, for them to remember who you are or what you do or whatever else. So you can't just run one print ad and then think, oh, the ad didn't work, so I'm just going to give up now. It doesn't work that way. And same even with more modern marketing tactics or even business strategies. In general, you can't implement a strategy and after 1 week when it doesn't work, just say, I'm not doing this anymore, it's not working. Let's put it this way to be in perspective. When you were a baby and you were learning how to walk, and you fell down, did you just kind of throw up your hands and say, this walking thing just ain't for me? Or did you get up and try to walk again? this is what you need to be doing in business, right? You can't just give up. So you have to give strategies enough time to work. So next time you implement a strategy, give it some time, give it a few weeks, give it a few months. And the last mistake, but not the least, I save the best for last, is not investing in your business education. So many people, and especially in today's world, because now online businesses are really popular, especially since the pandemic, people are looking for more freedom and flexibility. But I see so many people out there who are trying to piece together a business education through, free PDFs and online webinars and like all these like little free resources, blog posts, or even this video is a great example, right? You're trying to piece together a business education through free content. And the truth is, any of your other education in your life, more than likely, I'm guessing you invested to get it. So you probably have a college degree sitting around for some job that you're in that you hate, or you probably, made sure that you spent the time to go to grade school and then middle school and then high school. You invested the time, right? There's nothing else in life that people want to kind of take the shortcut for more than starting a business. And that just blows my mind. So even for me, right? Again, I have an art degree, so I paid a lot of money for a piece of paper that says I could draw well. That was essentially, in a way, useless for me. But I paid a lot of money for that. But it doesn't mean that I didn't invest to get my business education. I invested 15 years of my life, in my career to learning from my father, and learning from the people in my family on what to do and what not to do. So investments come at either investing your time or investing your money. So you either need to be willing to invest time with a mentor, which could be a free route, depending on the mentor that you find. A lot of folks will invest in a mentor. I know for myself personally, I've invested upwards within the last 2 years of $50,000 in the coaches that I work with, and the business support systems that I've tried to learn different things that I'm not privy to in trying to get better. But you don't go, doctors don't decide to be a doctor without investing to get their degrees. Right? It just doesn't work that way. And business is no different. So you have to invest in your business education, however that looks, whether it be investing time working with somebody who can show you the ropes, that you work more like an apprentice, or actually paying the money to get the shortcut to learn the education faster. Courses, coaches, heck, even a business degree. You've got to learn how it works in order to become successful at it. There's no shortcut to that. I'm sorry. So that wraps up the 6 biggest mistakes that I see folks make when they are starting a brand new business. Now, if you're ready to learn the A to Z blueprint on exactly how to start a business without the headache of making all these mistakes that I just talked about, we should talk. So if that's you, I'd love to invite you to book a call with me and my team to see if the Validate Your Biz Blueprints, my paid program, would be a good fit for you in reaching your goals. Apply to book your call today by clicking the link below in the description. Check out these videos next for even more ways to learn how to launch and grow your brand new business. And if you found value in this video, you found it helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. My name is Corey Logaitis, and I will see you next time.